And go live. Going live. And you're
Oh.
live. Hello and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Hello, everyone. I'm glad y'all could come to another edition of the King Og, the Lost Book of King Og, the last of the Raphaim that we're going to be talking about and reading tonight. Me and my co-host, Isby. Welcome, Isby.
Thank you, brother. Much favor be upon you. Much favor be upon all of us together. Much prosperity is upon us all together.
That's right. Prosperity is upon us. And as you know, we are both wearing our Hanukkah shirts. Thank you, Nina. Show your shirt. There you go.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Nina, look at it. I even got a hat. So if she sees this later, everybody go and tell Nina that we're on with Anna Karana all over the place, supporting our other people, Anna Karana tonight. And this wasn't planned either. We just put them on and showed up. Oh my, we got people piling in. Delaney Pearl Jones, what a wonderful show we had. Deborah Sloan, hello. Witchy Moon 73. Thank you for coming. Much love from the deepest of my heart. Thank you for coming. Favor be upon you. Anyway, we had a little trouble with trying to get email to go through tonight, but Isby figured it out and he's using his phone. So if he fades in and out, don't worry about it. He's on, and that's what counts.
Well, I'm on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I'm on Wi-Fi here.
That's all right. As
So
long
I
as it
shouldn't
works.
be fading in and out too much.
Okay.
Hey, Max Vision, Deborah Sloan, Witchy Moon, Delaney Pearl Jones. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Glad to see you.
And I even got my little Anna Karana cup there, that the little tumbler deal. That so Nina, I bought the store out for you. Anyway, it's one of those things. Anyway, Isby, go ahead. Why don't you tell them
beautiful?
What?
That cup.
Oh yeah, that's
awesome.
It's a pretty.
I'd love to have one of these.
Yeah. So anyway, I want you to tell them what you've been working on and what you're going to put on your show, your channel pretty soon. So everybody who hasn't subscribed, go over to Isby Speaks, and pretty soon he's going to start putting up some
Isby channel and subscribe.
Yes.
All three.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be doing different things on different channels.
Yes. And
I got three of them. I'm a Trinity.
Trinity. There you go. Tell them what your newest folly is. Tell them what you're trying to do.
All right. I'm working with the 1099A in my trust. All right. We all have trust. We've all been turned into cattle and being traded on the stock market to generate more money.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a right to access this trust as the beneficiary to buy homes, cars, RVs, boats, whatever we need. All right. It's not a bank, but it's got, for most people, it's got hundreds of millions of dollars in it. So I'm in the process. I just got accepted for my lease to pay the rest of my lease off here. And then, I paid a whole year's. And the landlord's going to refund me the money that we've already paid on them. Mm-hmm. Okay, on the year, which can be around $7,000, something like that.
Okay.
And so now I'm in the process of going to buy an SUV, a Ford Expedition SUV. And the salesman has agreed to this already, and I've got the sales paper and all that, with the price and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, um, but it's tricky. There's a lot of people who are starting to come out that understand this process that are um, charging 5% of the whatever the total cost is the product that you're buying or whatever what you're pulling off of the trust to uh to be your trustee. But you got to have an EIN to be a trustee, and you cannot use this to do the thing, be a trustee for a family member. Okay, you have to be like a corporation, like a LLC kind of thing. Have an EIN yourself.
Okay. Huh. Very interesting.
But I'm learning more on it as the days go by. I'm picking up more. I'm watching a lot of videos and reading stuff, and there's a lot of people out there wanting to spread this around because this is going to help us all. I think this is part of NESARA myself.
Well, and as everybody knows that we could all use more money, couldn't we?
Yeah, we always use a home for sure.
And that is absolutely true. And I know everybody in the crowd here is not self-made millionaires. So when you figure it all out, I want you to put that up so we can all tune in and we can do the same. I'd like to buy a house. There you go.
That's what I intend on doing.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's my mission.
I agree. Everybody has a mission, and this could be yours. Oh, so anyway,
if I don't get thrown in prison for fraud for this last one, I felt, but it was accepted. I mean, if it was wrong, then it wouldn't have been accepted.
That's right.
And once it's been accepted, they're bound by their own laws.
Yep.
Those laws to do what it to send my landlord that money.
Yep. I know Delaney Pearl Jones would be loving that, and so would Deborah Sloan on Witchy Moon. I'm sure they would all jump on that. But anyway, Ruth Van John, thank you for coming. Well, anyway, we're going to get on with the show tonight because we got a great show, and then this weekend we got another great show with Mandy Moo and Delabar going to come on. We're going to talk crystals, frequency, and all that good stuff coming up this weekend. Because to collaborate with our last show we did with Max Vision and Zigzagzilla, which was a great show. I learned so much on that. Thanks, Max, for all that you do and all your shows you put out. It just inspires me to do better every single day, to learn more about that. Yes,
Robert, can I say one more thing about this?
Go right ahead.
I opened a bank account in Mid-Florida today.
Yep.
And I was in there talking to this lady. She's a loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yeah, they do file a 1099-A on people. And they double dip. They get the full amount of your loan that they give you, and then make you make payments on it plus interest. They double dip.
They're just using your money, and then you're paying them interest to do it. That's what it is.
No,
ain't that something?
They're taking, all right, they're loaning you the money, all right?
Yeah.
Then they go into your trust to get the full amount.
Yes.
And then make you pay the payments back.
That's right.
So they get the full amount twice plus interest.
Yeah,
so why not bypass all that
and just go right there and get the money, not pay the interest?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But you got to do your due diligence.
You got to know
research and make sure you do it right, or else you'd be in jail for fraud.
Yeah, you got to know who to talk to, what papers to fill out, what questions to ask, and then who to give the papers to. So
Correct.
anyway, anyhow, which I got a question. You remember what page we left off on? I am stumped here.
Okay. I think
Tell
I
me
marked
which.
it, but I may have.
Please tell me you remembered.
My mark fell out of the book. I think I'm gonna get one of these sticky pages I just bought. Oh, my pages! Look at this.
Yeah.
My book's falling apart.
Oh my. Um,
Okay.
Ruth
We
Ann
was-
John's got it right. Rob Peter to pay Paul. Sounds like yes.
Yeah, exactly. Rob Peter.
They never use their own money. They all these institutions, rich people. How do you guys like my hat? Anyway, what do you think of that? Do you like the
I love
the
your
cowboy
hat, man. I
the
wish I
cowboy
had
hat
one like that.
or this
I
hat?
love that. I'm thinking, I'm sitting there thinking, it'd be awesome if she come out with derbies with an anacron on them,
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Connor Simon.
or fedoras.
Turtle Club.
Doors.
Turtle Club. Yes. The Carl Schwab Carl Schwab looks like the villain from that 007 movie. That's what it reminds me of. Okay, tell me which page we had.
I think we stopped somewhere around 16, 17, something like that. And we read the Moonchild and everything. There's
Okay.
18.
16. Oh yeah, the second false prophecy. That's right. That's where we stop. The Moonchild is wounded. Okay, I got it. I'm good. Okay, page
you
7.
you
page
already
7.
got them printed out?
Yep, page 17. We'll get
Or
right
copied?
into this.
Do you already have them copied?
Oh yeah. Don't worry about me. I'm right on the money, man. Can you see that? There we go.
I'm just scatterbrained because I'm studying 6 things at once.
Yeah. Okay. I think we left off at the second false prophecy. That's where we stopped. Okay, I'm going to start out. You want me to start out or you want to start out?
Well, you can start out.
Okay. The second false prophecy. At this time, Mott spoke through Nimrod's sorceresses, telling them that the suitor for the Moonchild was in Nimrod's kingdom. This was another false prophecy that ended species of giants. 69.
As I, Og, mourned the loss of Lesta. I gotta remember that. Nimrod and his military leaders traveled and visited the kingdom of Og to view the Moonchild. Yeah, we read this part. Nimrod,
We did.
the circumcised, then spoke to the giants of Og's kingdom, and spoke of the prophecy of Mott. Nimrod requested that the Moonchild be raised in Mott's temple in his Nephilim kingdom. When Nimrod spoke, the darkness of Baal's spirit and truth was in the air. Nimrod told us all the Moonchild's purpose would be to breed in Mott's procreation harvest. I Og disagreed, and my military removed Nimrod, his circumcised military leader, from Og.
I think you're right. I think we did read that.
Yes, we did.
Oh yeah,
But
we
it's
did.
okay. It's all right. It's all good.
Okay, yeah, okay. We'll just keep right on going. The Moonchild is wounded. Early in the Moonchild's life, at the time of the celebration, the feasting, the spies made their way to the Moonchild's chambers to steal her for the purpose of Nimrod. When found, the spies, great violence and destructive rage, did not know that the Moonchild was among them. And in combat, the Moonchild was wounded almost unto death.
Wow.
Yeah. You want me to finish this up? In the center hall, the remaining spies stood, and the army of Og stood aside. And as Og tapped hip and thigh, bare hands. Oops, I gotta shrink this down so I can turn the page. And killing them all with no weapons. Oh yeah, I remember reading this. Slew 30 giants with my fists and tore and ripped the giants. I learned of the circumcision, learned of their bloody corpses, and were from the circumcised kingdom of Og. The false prophecy of Mot, the treachery of Nimrod begot the seeds, and the soon grew to become the 100,000 giant war. For this and more, I hate Nimrod with all of the hatred I have in my intact loins. His circumcised offenses against the Moonchild and the kingdom of Og demanded a whole-membered response. The tales of how I, Og, got my terrible hands upon Nimrod, the circumcised, and how I broke him into glistening, wet entrails and pieces. How I, Og, allowed my son, Ogalus, to participate in the killing of Nimrod, the circumcised. Has the tale not been told? Anzal, the slayer of smaller selves before Baal. Okay, well, yeah, I remember reading that, but hey, whatever. The prophecy of King Og. Anak, the keeper of the bodies. Okay, why don't you start there?
Introduction by Anak, keeper of the bodies. It is known that as the Moonchild lay close to death in the temple of Baal, the moon of the moon, King Og then clothed himself long white robe with golden sash across his chest. He refused food and drink and chained his arms by the rings with the temple of Baal of the moon. In his right hand he held Og hung upon chains while standing for 7 days until the death of the Moonchild. Only the smaller self, Sorceress, and I, Anak, keeper of the bodies, attended him. Now, you know what? We read this too, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's all good, but, I think we read this.
I think he did too. I'm going to skip ahead then because we read that he was hanging by the chains. Eyeball of the earth knows your works. Yeah, we read that part too. Eyeball saw the Moonchild clothed with the sun and the moon at her feet. Yeah, we read that.
I'll put a sticky on the page we put on tonight.
Yes, do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did we go?
I just got some stickies. I had just a receipt in there marking a page, and it fell out.
Oh yeah, they were talking about the plagues. I remember reading about the plagues. Ball of the sun. There was ball of the sun, strike down them, circumcised, death of the land. Eyeball of the sun, call 100,000 giant war, circumcised. Okay, I think we read that. Okay, the stars. Remember, we were doing the stars. Behold, all the stars, the celestial bodies. Remember, we talked about how Baal is the stars too. And Mot. Behold, words of Mot. Behold, the locust. Oh yeah, we read the locust. Yeah, we read.
I'm thinking that's what they called the infinite creator was Baal.
Yeah.
The infinite creator is Baal, and they named him Baal. Because everything's made of Baal.
Yeah.
Baal is the infinite creator. I'm not going to say God because he's greater than a God, I think.
Let's see. Where did we stop? Maybe we stopped at Mot. You want to start at start at Mott then, or do you think we went farther than that? The death of the moon
Let me
child. I
see
knew it
what
was
we
the
got.
death of the moon child or something. Maybe this is where on the seventh day, Og's chain, temple of the moon child, the servant sorcerers are afraid to arouse Og to chains. No, I don't. I think this is where we stopped. Okay.
At Mott?
No, at the death of the moon child, page
Yes, okay. All right.
27. Go to page 27.
Yep, I
Sorry,
got
everybody. Sorry, everybody. But hey, well, no use of reading all that over. But remember what happened here. I'm going to stop this for a second. Okay. So remember, everyone, this is what happened was, yeah, Og had chained himself up and he was having these visions for several days. His hair turned white and he talked to Baal and he talked to Mott, and he was told to go and destroy all of the circumcised giants, and and the moon child had died, and now it was time for the 100,000 giant war. Good. We're getting a full house tonight. Everybody, I hope, is enjoying. Scotty Boy, David
Yeah.
Castle. Let's see, Deborah
Divine Empress.
Divine Empress. Hello.
Yeah. Good to see you all.
Lucky Smith is in the house. The Soul Tribe is prospering. I am prospering. We are all prospering together. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Poyel. Thank you, Soul Tribe. Thank
Hello,
you so
Lucky.
much.
Welcome.
Michelle
Thank you
Can
for
Amfree, our love child girl. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for being here. We need a little love in the house always.
Yes.
Okay, so
Good to see you, Michelle.
I can't see the thing when I'm in the doohickey, so page 27, we're back to where we started. Okay, I'll start out with this one, okay? The death of the moon child. And if we read this over, we're probably pretty close anyway. And it came to pass that the seventh day Og spent chained in the temple, that the moon child died. The servants, sorcerers, and the elder Rephaim were afraid to arouse Og from his miserable chains, to let him tell him that the moon child was dead. For they said, indeed, while the moon child was still alive, we spoke to him and he would not heed our voice. How can we tell him that the moon child is dead? He may do us all some harm. 72, it's yours.
Max Vision, good to see you, brother. When Og saw that the servants, sorceresses, and elder Rephaim were whispering, Og perceived that the moon child was dead. Therefore, Og said to the gathering crowd of his chains, "Is the moon child dead?" And they all said, "She is dead." So Og arose and unbuckled from his chains. He washed and rebraided his hair, anointed his beard, changed his clothes, and went to the temple of Baal of the moon and worshipped. Then he went to his own palace, and when he requested his smaller servants set meat before him, and he ate. Man, bet that took a basket
Yeah.
on the back. Then his smaller servants said to him, "What is this that you have done? You have fasted and wept for the moon child while she was alive. But when the moon child died, you arose and ate food." Yeah, that's a funny thing, People always, it seemed like at every funeral you go to, you always get these people there that were trash mouthing the person that died.
That is true. That is so true. That could be a whole show in itself. So Og said, while the moon child was still alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, who can tell whether Baal of the moon will be gracious to the Rephaim, and that the moon child may live? But now that the moon child is dead, why should I fast? Can I bring her back again? When I die, I shall go to the moon child, but she will not return to me. Yes, and see, that's exactly, I think he made the real good point of while you're still alive, I can pray, I can hope that you can overcome your wounds and live again. But once you're dead, that just reaffirms that once you're gone, your body is gone, you're done. And he says he'll see the moon child on the other side. So he already knows that there's that the body is just the vessel. If you got anything out of that. So the body is the vessel and he knows it. But she cannot come back because the body is dead. That's why he's eaten. That's why we feast afterwards, because there's nothing else you can do for the dead body.
I mean, I've seen that. At every funeral I've ever gone to, there's always people there that were bad mouthing the person that was dead, that had died, and mourning for him.
Yes. Michelle Can-Am Free says she's a moon child born in July. July, yes. And a moon child, yes, for sure. Oh, come on. I just lost it. Oh, there we go. It's coming back. Whew, I thought I lost everything. Everything went black. You think you got computer problems. Okay. You're up. Number 79.
It was on this day that Og sent messengers to giants throughout the great land and beyond to join him in war against Nimrod because of the death of the moon child and because of their adherence to circumcision, which is disrespectful to the gods. In this way, the 100,000 giant war began. Again. Whoa.
Okay. All right. Okay, chapter 3, the giants of the 100,000 giant war. This is where it gets really cool and interesting to hear about all the giants. It kind of goes on, so it's lengthy. But it says, this is the telling of the 100,000 giant war, as transcribed by both Ankh, the keeper of the bodies, before Baal, Anzal, the slayer of smaller selves, before Baal of the moon. These are the deeds of the giants who fought with King Og against Nimrod. For our days were passed in wrath, and our war, the tale that is told. Okay, you're
Anzal. Anzal.
Anzal.
I mean, that's a badass name, ain't
it? It is.
King Og sent throughout all the known world for uncircumcised Rephaim to fight Nimrod in his circumcised army. And the word went forth to every outpost of giants, and they came. The six-fingered, the mountain builders, and the heavy weapon makers from the cold lands. Dragon siblings from the east, and 20,000 giants that came with them. All in all, 100,000 giants representing every colony, color, and creed in the known world. Wow, there must have been multiple races.
Yeah.
Multiple races.
And then we're going to find out about all of those races here in a second. But they didn't even care about which race you are. They cared about if you were circumcised or not. How silly. But of course, now look at, we go about which race you are, what religion you are, if you're this or that, or, so how silly. They would have looked at us and said the same thing. What? We don't care what race you are, what religion you are. You're circumcised. Right?
Pull your worm out and show it.
Pretty much. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then King Og anointed his 7 braids and beard with oil. He stood before 100,000 of them, all in the high place of Baal of the earth, and looking over his warriors and kingdom, he screamed with a voice that all Rephaim heard. For Baal of the earth and for the loss of the Moonchild, we go to war.
And when the moon was full next, war broke out between Og's and Nimrod's kingdom. Og and his giants fought against the circumcised, and the circumcised and Og fought back. The Rephaim were driven on by the death of the Moonchild, and their hatred of circumcision hardened their resolve. You know, I'm just wondering how this is affecting our lives today, too, you know?
Well,
Because
people are still getting circumcised.
that's for sure. And I'm pretty angry that they dedicated me to Nimrod.
Yeah, me too. Me
But
too.
both of them make a smaller self, Og and Nimrod.
Yeah, that's right.
They were eating people. Both of them were.
They were.
And, you know, think about being a smaller self back then, you know, and a giant see you and just break you up in his hand, just bite you in half, chew you up.
Yeah. They just
You
chew
know?
you up and spit you out.
Yeah, you know, like you was a hot dog or something, you know?
Pretty much. Oh man, my computer's doing a freaky thing on me today. Okay. I'll start
I'm
reading.
sitting here.
Okay. These are the Rephaim of significant stature that fought with the King Og on the battlefield of the 100,000 Giant War. Okay, so why isn't this thing coming on? This is the weirdest thing ever is going on with me. Sorry about this, everybody, but I am just having a trip here. I don't know what happened.
Whoa.
Okay, I gotta start over. I am so sorry, everybody. My whole screen disappeared. I got gremlins.
You run Windows 10?
Yeah, that's the problem.
That might be a problem.
Okay. There we go. Now it's sharing right. Okay, so we'll blow this up again and start over. Ankh, the keeper of the bodies before Baal, Ankh, whose dark ones shrouded over him with unspeakable darkness. Ankh, who spoke the incarnation to raise the dead. Ankh, who worshipped Mot in secret. Ankh, the transcriber of the first chapters of this very book. Ankh, who is it Ankh or Anak? You think Anak?
It sounds like Anak or something.
Anak, who cut himself and shaved the front of his head. Anak, who stood between Og and Nimrod and was then cut down by the circumcised. Anak, who wounded Nimrod's genitals a second time. Oh boy. All right. Well, there you go. Second time. That's got a bite. Okay.
Every time I hear about that, every time I hear, you know, about how Og or Nimrod got his genitals, you know, messed up, it just makes me laugh.
Yep. Okay, you're up.
Well, they fought naked.
Yeah. Well, maybe with a loincloth.
Go figure. Well, maybe, I don't know, but I understood that they fought naked when they went to war.
I think they had a loincloth. Just something. Maybe.
Not much protection there, huh?
No, not much protection. It just swings freely. Okay, you're up.
Azaz, the temple priest for Baal of the moon. Azaz with blackened eyes, who rode a great beast in the battle. Blackened eyes. Could you imagine? If it blackened eyes, then he wouldn't have no whites, would he?
That's right. That is so correct.
Azaz, the priest who was the creator of the driver and chaser.
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 Driver is the The club and
And
the
chaser.
chaser is the ball on a chain.
Okay. Azoth, who weaved the bones of the smaller selves into his beard. Azoth, who ate the unnatural, creeping things that did not have fins or scales, and the beasts that chew the cud but did not have cloven hoods. Azoth, whose dark ones moved objects around him. Azoth, whose potions and spells protected Rephaim on the field of battle. Azoth's army was 1,000 giants. Wow.
Yeah.
Had little self bones in his beard.
Yeah, you gotta love that. Hey, look, a smaller self. And you look up at the giant and you go, oh shit, he just carries the trophies around with. he just
Well,
forgot to pick the bones out of his beard.
There's natives all around the world that have been wearing bones in their beards.
Yeah, maybe that's where they got it from.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yep. Yep. Okay, I'll go on with this one. This is cool because these giants that came, each one had their own little clique, you know. I think this is called Melchum, the cannibal who had eaten the dead who were tied to trees where the dark ones gather. Melchum, the treasurer in the house of Baal of the moon. Abdominal Melchum, who showed partially and took the bribes that blind the eyes of the wise, twist the words of the horrible. Melchum, who at times was possessed by dark ones that threw him into the water or the fire, trying to kill him. Melchum, who sang praises to Baal of the moon, as he was surrounded by circumcised Nephilim and run through Melchum's army, was 1,000 giants. So he was like possessed too with these dark ones. They mentioned the dark ones a lot. So,
well,
okay.
This was a big war, obviously. They had 1,000 giants. But, you think about Armageddon, all right? What they're saying about that?
Yeah.
It's going to be the biggest army ever assembled.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're getting ready.
If it comes true the way they're saying, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's going to be the big, it's million people, million army, right?
Yep.
Isn't it?
It's going to be the biggest.
Million.
It's going to be the biggest war you've ever seen in your life, and then some. Yeah. You think World War II was big? This one's going to make that look like pancakes.
Yeah, and they're trying to get it started right now.
Yeah, well, it takes a while, so I'd say 6 months by this winter. They'll kick it off by fall.
So I hope they do. I hope they.
I hope they do.
End this one.
Oh, it'll be the next war. I'll tell you what. I'll know the next war we'll be fighting with sticks and stones, just like the giants are.
Well, I ain't got the jab, so I got a good possibility of living to 2030 or 2040.
Yeah.
Unless they find some other way to kill me off.
Yeah, never know. Never know nowadays. Okay, you're up. Og. 11. Yeah.
Yeah. Ag, who was Og's brother and who died in the first moments of battle. Ag, who had no connection or any interest in a connection to any spiritual thing whatsoever. Ag, who followed not the customs of Og's land. Ag, who spared his firstborn from Baal's fire. Ag, who swung nets for fish and swung nets on the field of battle. Ag, who stunned the stones and then pierced by spears and hacked with axes until they died. Ag's army was 5,000 giants.
Ooh-wee.
Whoa, that's 15,000 now.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go with the next one. And he is Tarson. Tarson,
Yeah.
who hunted in the great waters and tamed Leviathan. Tarson, blood serpent and warden of the blood pits of Baal of the earth. Tarson, who killed the circumcised Nephilim on the battlefield or the field of battle by crushing skulls with hammers. Tarson, who plundered Nimrod's stores and took all of his smaller selves and livestock. Tarson, whose face had been scarred by a mighty beast. Tarson, who used the Dark Ones to read the minds and hearts of others. Tarson's army was 500 giants.
Wasn't quite as big.
Nope, but he was a tough one. He tamed the
Yeah, he
Leviathan.
was.
Hmm.
Yep. That could have been any number of beasts though.
Yep.
Because
Yes.
there are a lot of different lions.
Yes. I wonder what the Leviathan was called. I know it was in the Bible or something. I know Lucky Smith knows. Lucky, if you're hearing this, what was the Leviathan? Somebody look it up. Okay. You're up. Grayon.
Grayon, the heavy whose fourth and final battle was the 100,000 giant war. Each war Grayon fought had torn his face so severely that he had 3 different faces. Now, how in the hell was that?
I don't know.
Grayon, who was oppressed by his dark one and had been rendered mute, must cut his tongue off out. Grayon, who served Mott in the open. Grayon, who was stubborn, rebellious, and glutton, and a drunkard. Grayon, who continued to swing the driver and chaser mightily after his head had been severed in battle. Grayon's army was 500 giants. Wow. You imagine that? I remember when I was a kid, we would, you know, slaughter our chickens, for dinner, and we grab them by the head and, turn their body around in a circle until their body came off. All right, wring their necks right off. And them damn chickens would get up and run around for 2 or 3 minutes with blood spurting out of their neck where their neck severed.
See, we have and and anybody who hasn't seen chicken doing that, you chop their head off and they run around for a while. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And here's another thing about it. Nowadays, they get their head into a couple wires, or like little bars, about the size of your pinky,
Yep.
And they're going along and they're being pulled along.
Yeah.
On this thing, and then they hear a Jewish prayer to make them kosher.
Yeah.
And then cut. They're gone.
Well,
they cut their heads off. And then they bleed them out. They're hanging upside down by their feet.
Yep.
Yep. And I keep wondering about the cruelty, Pastor,
It goes fast. I took chickens to the butcher place, and man, within 15 minutes they did 50 chickens and had them. them chickens didn't have time to feel anything. Next thing you know,
Well,
they're
they
in my
say
freezer.
cutting their heads off the best way, the most humane way to take them.
Yeah, they just plucked their necks and then they just bled out. They just went to sleep. Anyway, I want to say here we have the smartest audience ever because they already know what Leviathan is. Lucky Smith says the Leviathan was a sea serpent. Elderberry says Leviathan is a sea serpent. And it's Elderberry says snapping turtles will walk back to the pond or river after cutting their head off a lot longer than 3 minutes. So how about that? Cut the head of a turtle off and he'll walk back to the pond or river afterwards.
Well, they say our brain, when we die, even.
Yeah.
They found brain, magnetic energy, coming out of our brain that is still
still working.
Still working, after 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
After death.
Yeah. Lucky Smith says, depending on the story, Leviathan could have many heads and breathe fire, but they always lived in the water. Maybe the Leviathan was a sea dragon. Interesting.
That's what I'm wondering too, because I remember that. I remember that there was that one in the Greek myth that had many heads.
Max says the Leviathan is the Amygdala. I'm mispronouncing. Amygdala.
Yeah.
Okay, I mispronounced it, but okay, we'll go on. Since I am tongue-tied.
Definitely a tongue twister, brother.
sorry, Max, but I meant well. Okay, we'll go on. Anthos, the climber, who climbed the mountains until the air thinned cold, as he searched for new lands. Anthos, soothsayer, for the ball of the stars and celestial bodies. Anthos, who was foretold the circumcised of Nimrod and the 100,000 giant war. Anthos, who was strong and of good courage for ball of the stars and celestial bodies, and was the one who ball of the stars and the celestial bodies possessed and never fortook. And Anthos, whose visage changed when the dark ones were upon him. Anthos, who made armor out of the bones of the Nephilim and the great beast of old. Anthos, who had the eyes of certain death. Anthos' army was 500 giants. Whenever they say the eyes of certain death, means that he died during the war. Okay, you're up.
Wow, that's amazing.
You're up, Yuval.
Beast of old. Mud Fossil is arguing that there's a dragon that was like, I imagine it had been 200 miles long.
Could be.
And it's up on North Africa.
Hey, we don't.
How could something grow that big on a planet this small?
How do we know how big our planet really is?
Well, you could have that right. They've been deceiving the hell out of us. Yuval the Gray, father of Og's deceased wife, Vesta. Yuval was the commander of the elephants, the great sealed beast. Yuval, who had fallen from the skies like lightning at the beginning. Yuval, who conversed with the bright ones. Yuval, whose heart broke when the moon child was lost. Yuval, who sacrificed to the gods we did not know. Yuval, who died in combat after killing many while under the control of the dark. Yuval's army was 5,000 giants.
There's some key words here and there's some stuff.
Yes.
So So first of all, Yuval, Og's father, was not of this world. That we do know.
Yeah.
Because
It
it's
said he
he's
fell from the sky.
yeah. Also, he prayed or sacrificed to the gods. He sacrificed to gods we did not know. So he was from somewhere else believing in other gods.
Well, I'm wondering if it has any ties in with an Anunnaki.
That's what I'm saying. Is so the thing is,
You know,
you
I
know,
mean, could Og be Inky?
no, I think
Another name
that
for Inky?
I think
Could Og?
that the thing is I think Earth was here and people or the giants came here from somewhere else, and so did the smaller people, us. I think we were all put here at one point or another.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and then you know, I suspected since the 1980s that when I found out about how the dinosaurs died out, all right, and how long they, realized how long they'd been here and how long it took for us to develop our technology, our
Yeah.
intelligence today.
We don't know
You know,
what kind of
could the reptiles, the dinosaurs, had evolved into bipedal species like us?
Mhm. No, I
You know,
think yeah. Well, according to these guys, the dinosaurs were already here, and so were the other species. They were all living together. You know, because he said they
wow.
had
Could you
elephants.
imagine that?
He said, see, listen, he was doing the elephants, and he did the reptile or the scaled beast. So they did both. So they were both here. Before we get going, I want to say Max Vision says the Amidagala, I hope it Amidagala Allah has a barbed tail and can be a monster or a gentle cow. The Amidagala is a structure in your brain, turns short-term into long-term memory, the gatekeeper. Well, that's interesting.
Yes, that is.
Lucky Smith's many-headed Greek monster, the Hydra. The Hydra, every head you cut off would grow two more. The Hydra blood was acid. Hercules defeated the Hydra by burning the stub of each head he cut off. And Hydra was also in Avengers. If you haven't seen that.
Yeah. Hey,
okay.
I was thinking while we was talking about these reptiles and the many races.
Yes.
You know, species that must have evolved, you know, or we're living together.
Yep.
You remember that Star Trek called Enterprise?
Yes.
All right, there was that planet that they found that had 6 species of different life. They had insectoids that were intelligent. They had avians. They had whales, you know, and they had humans. They had reptilians. You know, there were 6 different species of intelligent bipedal beings on that planet that evolved together.
Yep. You know what? You're giving it away. You're giving it away to me because I just got that series and I'm going to start watching it here pretty soon. So when I get to that one, I'll have to let you know.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's a good one.
All right.
That's a good one. I've watched every Star Trek movie and show that there's ever been. And you know, the different series, you know.
Oh yeah, I love them too.
Deep Space Nine and you know.
Max G is in the house and Linda Brooks. Hello.
Hello. Elderberry's in here.
Oh yeah, Elderberry and Jules is in the house.
Good to see you.
I love when Jules comes in the house. She's always so nice. Yeah. She was on the show the other day. She was such a good co-host. I really enjoyed that. Okay, I'm gonna get on with this.
Y'all need to go make a comment on my channel so I can make y'all give you wrenches.
You got to have a show or two. Come on now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go. On Ark a nut. Arkrut. The Raphaim who sharpened his fingernails. Arkrut. Yeah. Who connected to the floating beast for battle. Arkrut, who when connected became as a lion. Arkrut, whose floating beast tore at the groins of the circumcised Nephilim. Arkrut, who wore the skins and faces of the many Nephilim he killed. Arkrut served a ball of the stars and celestial bodies. Arkrut, whose arrows were drunk with blood and whose sword longed to devour flesh. Arkrut, whose braided beard grew past his knees. Arkrut's army was 500 giants.
Wow.
He was tough as nails, wasn't he?
Yeah. And a beard that grew past his knees.
Yeah, that was longer than your beard you had.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't know how you say this one. Penoth, I guess.
Penoth,
Yeah. Okay, you're up.
the Black Rephaim. Penoth, the Black Rephaim from the hot land of elsewhere. Penoth, who like Uval conversed with the bright ones. I'm wondering who these bright ones were.
Bright ones, dark ones. It is. It's kind of interesting. So he was. So Penoth, the
were
Black.
these though? Were these beings though? Could they be light beings?
Could be.
You know that they appeared like a bipedal being, but they were all light, pure light.
Yeah.
You know.
But what we're saying is, so he was not from Earth either. So he was with Yuval. Interesting. Go ahead, finish it up.
Yeah. Penoth, who sacrificed to the gods, we did not know. Penoth, who spoke the incantation to raise the dead. Penoth, who, wow, there's an incantation to raise the dead.
Yeah, apparently.
Penoth, who had opened his soul to the dark ones completely, whose eyes were darkened because of it. Penoth, who helped disasters upon the circumcised Nephilim and dashed their skulls upon the stones in the field. Penoth, who had the eyes of certain death. Penoth's army was 1,000 giants. Wow.
He died.
Think about that, though.
Yeah. So he wasn't from here. He had the darkened eyes, but he knew spells. See, this is what they're talking about. I think they're talking about technology. I think
It's gotta be because they could raise the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, we still ain't figured out how to raise the dead.
That's right. Desert Rose is in the house. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Desert.
Max G.
Good to
Desert
see
Rose. David Castle. Okay. I got Yugoth, the Black. Yugothoth. I guess that's how it's said. The Black Raphaim from the hot. From the hotlands of elsewhere. Yugothoth, who was driven by the dark ones and visibly rested upon his shoulders. Yugothoth, who could call down fire from the heavens, from ball of the sun. Yugothoth, who took off his sandals to question ball of the sun and was not struck dead. Yugothoth, whose hair was thick and looked as robes do. Yugothoth who killed 50 circumcised Nephilim with the skull of a great beast before he died. Yugothoth, who had the eyes of certain death. Yugothoth's army was 1,000 giants. So he died too. He was from another planet. And
wow.
The dark ones had invaded him so much you could see him sitting on his shoulders, visibly rested upon his shoulders.
It's been part of what I've been wondering about is, how these giants came to be on this planet,
Yep. Well,
I
they
mean,
didn't come from here. Maybe
well,
that's what. Maybe
and
that's why they
also,
died out.
it seems like some of them, one race of them made the smaller cells. Us,
Yes. Yes.
you know. So
Hmm.
they must have been Anunnaki. It's
Good.
a Sumerian text crew,
That could be.
you know.
Could be. Oh yeah. Okay, you're up. Argu.
Argu, the footbreaker, whose white hair shone under ball of the sun. Argu, who fought mightily with the driver and chaser and crippled many. Argu, who had to be chained to a stone pillar, went under the power of the Dark Ones because of his terrible strength. Argu, who prophesied Og's victory in the 100,000 giant war. Argu had, who left nothing undone of all that the Dark Ones commanded of him. Argu's army was 500 giants. Wow, can you
Ooh.
imagine? Man, I'm surprised they ain't made a movie like about this. You
Yeah, me
know,
too. Me
could
too.
you imagine? Can you imagine how well that would sell
Oh yeah.
if they took this book and made it to a movie?
And they could nowadays with all that CGI they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be easy. This is awesome. You know, I've been telling people about this too when I'm out about about this book King Og and all that, and everything.
Yeah. So
The
so
1099.
Lucky Smith said something about raising the dead. And I think he makes a ton of sense. Why would anyone want to raise the dead? Once you're done with life, you move on to a better place. Only the selfish pull a soul back to earth from heaven's paradise. And that is so true
Yeah,
because, we're
I have
you
to I have to ask how you pull a soul back into a body. There's got
I'm
to be some kind of technology there, if that's even possible.
well,
You know?
yeah, well, exactly. But even if you could, why would you do that to somebody? It'd be like you going to to a happy place, and then I pull you out and I put you in the dumpster, and that there you go. Would you be happy? Heck no. It'd be miserable.
No.
Even if you got pulled back, you would be so miserable that I pulled you back. Okay, we're gonna finish up this page and we'll call it a night. We're about at our hours.
Okay, which
Thing.
well,
Well,
beaches.
well, Vichas. Okay, whose arms swung violently and who wrapped his fist in chains. Vitus, who fasted and prayed before Baal of the moon with Og during the death watch of the moon child. Vitus, whose dark ones would enter his enemy and then return to tell him what the enemy was planning. Vitus, who'd eaten 200 smaller selves in one sitting. Vitus, who
Oh
took
man.
violent means to follow Baal of the moon, brutally walking in all his ways. Vitus, who had the eyes of certain death. Vitus' army was 500 giants. He must have been a huge giant to eat 200 smaller selves in one sitting.
Yeah.
Wow. He must have
Order of
been a big,
fries.
200 smaller selves and an order of
Order of
fries
fries.
and a large Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like.
Okay, you're up.
Brian, 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 Briars,
Close
the
enough.
strong giant who worked in the fields and harvested Briars, whisperer of all of the earth, and a recipient of Baal's blessing by Horus, who commanded many dark ones to enter the circumcised Nephilim army and confuse their way by Horus, who dug a tunnel into Nimrod's kingdom by Briareos, who built an incredible altar to Baal of the earth that was a witness between him and the dark, so that none in Og's kingdom could say, "We have no part in Baal of the earth." Briareos' army was 3,000 giants.
Ooh,
Now,
yeah.
that he dug a tunnel. They're saying that there's tunnels all through the earth.
That's right. Now we know who dug them.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're big enough to have giants could walk in them. Some of them. Lucky Smith says it's weird. The most powerful spirits I meet are small. The spirits who appear large are always weak. How could giants get enough food if they were given poor diet? They would be defeated easily. Yeah, I mean, much love to you too, Desert Rose.
Yeah.
These people, man.
The
thing
thing is if the giants didn't have much food to eat, doesn't mean that they didn't compared to us. It's like us. If there's not much food, but there's probably plenty of food for a smaller person. If there was little people, they would probably have. That's probably why they can you imagine sitting down and eating 20 people in a that you were eating, there was probably a lot of food, it just wasn't enough to feed them. That's the whole thing. Anyway. Okay, Tonos the Black.
You just grab up cows and eat them.
yeah, eat 10 cows a day. Kotos the Black, Raphaim, from the hot lands of elsewhere. Kotos, who strikes pulverized boulders and who pounded his fist inside and through his enemies. Kotos, worshiper of gods we did not know. He come from somewhere else too. Kotos, who had torn 20 circumcised Nephilim apart with his bare hands. Kotos, a violent giant whose fury none could reason with. Kotos, who put his trumpet in the hand of every giant of his army. Kotos, who said, "When I blow the beast's horn, then you blow the trumpets on every side of the camp and then scream, 'The battle belongs to Og.'" In doing so, the Nephilim were confused by the horn blast and yelling, and the Nephilim greatly feared Kotos and his army. Kotos, who had the eyes of certain death. Kotos' army was 2,000 giants. So Kotos came from somewhere else, and Kotos also died.
It sounds like they all come from somewhere else.
Well, not all of them. Og was from here, but his father, Ugal, or Lesta's father, Ugal, was from somewhere else. So, I mean, the giants had to multiply from somewhere. It's just that they didn't multiply from here. Okay, 32. Do we want to go on from here? Why don't you read 23, Gidas, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay.
Gyges or Gyges? Gyges?
Gyges.
Gyges.
Gyges carved limbs. Gyges who had been buried from the neck down to straighten his curved limbs at childhood. Gyges, builder of the high places and still secret worshiper of Mot. Gyges who lived with the lepers. Gyges who was protected by dark ones that circled him in black flames. Gyges who conjured and sent a powerful dark one of ill will into the Nephilim camp. Gyges, who had the eyes of certain death. Gyges, who captured and straightened till he died by the circumcised Nephilim. Gyges' army was 2,000 giants. You know, these dark ones, I'm wondering if they were not golems.
Yep. Could
You know?
be. Could be.
Or what do we call them? Platforms, you know?
Yeah.
Topos.
Yep. Could be. Ah.
Man, that's good stuff, though, you know? That's some good stuff.
Anyway. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. It's been a good night. We've had some people could come and go, but for the most part,
Hey, Scotty boy.
Scotty Boy's
Good
in
to
the
see
house.
you, bro.
He always has a good wit about him. He says, some of you, they didn't like the service. They were just
Good,
big
bro.
bone, not fat.
Good,
They weren't
yeah.
big fat. They were big boned. Yes, they were probably big boned. Oh,
Good
is
to
it
see
David?
you all.
Is
Thank
it
you for
David's?
coming.
Is it David Castle's birthday today? Well, happy birthday, David
Yes,
Castle.
happy birthday, David.
Oh,
I sent you a message.
I didn't know it was his
Wow.
birthday. Jeez. What's up?
I got
Anyway.
I got the page
Okay, you got it marked? Okay, good deal.
marked this with a sticky.
All right. Well, David Castle, we'll have a happy birthday. I'm sorry, sorry I didn't know that. I'd have sent you a happy birthday message, but of course, you never know.
Well, this has been fun, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now remember, you're going to have to do a show on your channel. And
I know.
I'll come on your channel. I'm sure there's a lot of other people who come on your channel and you can talk or do or make some shorts.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it eventually. I'm kind of tied up with this 1099A thing. You know?
Yeah. If anybody has
studying, trying to learn this trust law and know how to do this right so I can help other people.
That's right. And then we can all get land and a house and a new car.
Yeah.
Helping the soul tribe prosper.
You help people get off the streets if they want to get off the streets.
Absolutely.
Go out and buy food for them and give them bags of food.
Yeah. Especially in this time of day.
And that'll be some of what I'll be videotaping. There's people that are already doing it on YouTube right now.
Yeah. I seen that. I seen some of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a great idea. You learn, you teach all of us, you spread the word, and you should just get on and talk about that on your channel a little bit. And then, maybe people got ideas about it, then they'll send you emails and help you along too. We're all here to help each other, right?
I'm always a student first,
I agree.
And a teacher second, because I learn from those that I teach too.
Yep, I agree.
And that's the way, I think that's the way, a lot of Wayne, what he does, he learns from us too. And I learn from all of you. I mean, every one of you, I learned something from all of you, and I appreciate it. It's beautiful.
Yep.
It's changed my life.
Remember, everybody, I'm also doing an Atlantis book. We're going to talk about Atlantis. If you want to talk about Atlantis with me, let me know. If you got any good suggestions or stories about Atlantis that you'd like me to share or follow or look at, send me an email. Descriptions down below here, and we're going to do a show on Atlantis here in a few weeks or so.
I got you one. It's called Emerald Tablets.
Oh yeah. I like the Emerald Tablets.
Yeah, there's some Atlantis right there too.
It is.
You know, and you remember he was talking about in that book. He's talking about the there was wizards or sorcerers that were opening up portals
Mhm.
and allowing dark these dark beings to come through. You know,
So
from the
then the
lower.
question, is, was Atlantis just, was that the giants?
Could have been.
Could have been.
Could have been.
All right. Well, anyway, I wish I knew more about. Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out more about Atlantis, Lucky. Don't you worry. Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll be back next week where we'll continue on where we left off for another great show and story about King Og and all his crazy giants. And thank you all for coming. Thank you, Isby. You got any last words?
Thank you, brother. Thank you all for coming. I love y'all. Favor always be upon you. Prosperity be upon us all together.
Absolutely. And with that, be the frequency you want to receive. I love you all, everybody. Peace, everybody. And there we go. Another show in the books.